So yeah, in terms of reactivity, again, that is a chemical property, and then flammability. Oops, let me go back real quick. So flammability is just again the ability of something, how likely it is to burn, and then toxicity, and just how poisonous something is, and these all have to do with like the chemical identity of a substance. All right, and so we'll talk a little bit more about some examples in a second, but just again, just a recap on what matter. What is matter, right? So the nature of matter, it's anything that takes up space and has mass. Right, some examples of matter, again, pretty much everything that you can think of is matter, with a few exceptions. You can observe matter easily with your senses, right? So we talked about observation earlier in the term. And so things that you can observe with your senses are things like rocks, trees, bikes, air, basically everything and almost anything. The only thing that wouldn't be matter would be things like energy. So, like sunlight, heat, electricity, those are not matter because they have no mass or volume, right? So, they can't be matter because they don't fit the definition. And so, physical properties, again, we saw a few examples earlier, but let's just see a few more. Physical property, it's a property that can be easily observed, right? But you're not really changing the identity of the substance. It's just an observation that you're making, right? Again, with your senses. So viscosity is just how thick of a liquid is. Conductivity, just whether electricity, whether basically if it can like soak up electricity and heat and kind of like pass it through, uh, kind of like metal, right? Malleability is just how you can bend or shape or mold something. And then hardness, whether something is magnetic, melting point, boiling point, density, color. All of these are examples of physical properties. So let's see a few more examples. So solubility of a substance is it's the ability for something to dissolve. So that would be a physical a property of something. It's just like how it dissolves into something else. Conductivity, which you mentioned earlier, is just a material's ability to allow heat or electricity to flow, right? So that's why you never want to stick a metal object in a wall socket because that metal object will conduct electricity and the electricity will pass through the object and into you, which you definitely don't want. So examples of things that are conductive are things like metal, right? Metal has a high conductivity, which I just mentioned right now, but wood not so much, right? Wood you really wouldn't be able to conduct much heat or electricity through those. You'd more likely burn down the piece of wood than it actually like absorbing and holding that energy.